there's just no car that can offer you more laps per dollar than a Z. But they make enough power to drive pretty much anywhere. They don't break. All you have to do is just make sure you take care of them. I think the best S chassis for drifting is actually an S13.
That is one thing that I'm like, I've started to notice is the S chassis world is just not, everyone's walking away from it because of the marketability of it. The RTR guys, like, what do you think that deal even is?
RTR is a Ford company, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to go campaign under the RTR
Did it start
logo.
as a Ford company though?
I don't know, actually.
I don't think it did.
It might have just been a Vaughn thing, and then he was partnered with Ford and eventually integrated in. That's a good question.
I feel like
I have
Vaughn
no idea.
sold a portion of RTR
Probably.
to Ford.
I would think so.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube, presented by Injuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we have
Jake Wise. Yeah.
Nice to
Texas Drifter.
Yeah, he's a pretty well-known Texas drifter, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know about nationally, but at least around here.
Yeah, like a little hometown hero. But of course, before we get into the podcast, look below the video. Make sure the subscribe button is not still red. If it is, click that and hit the bell notification while you're at it so you never miss an episode. And of course, we may talk about some parts and stuff like that. As always, you can find those on Injuku. The link is always in the description. But yeah, that's all I really got. So you want to kind of give an introduction on who you are, what you drive, and all that nonsense?
So I started drifting in 2018, for the last part of the year. And then I ended up getting my 350Z. That's probably the car I'm most well known for. It's a yellow and red, livery deal. I ran that in Lone Star Drift for 4 seasons, I think. And I won Texas Street Legal in that car. I think at this point, that's the most decorated Texas drift car. It's won or podiumed the most events. I built this car in 2021 and started competing in it in 2022. Won Full Lock Drift Pro-Am there, and it's won several comps since then. It was supposed to be for FD, but we're working on that.
Yep.
But yeah, just kind of been doing competition stuff around Texas, Oklahoma mostly. I've traveled out of state a few times, but mostly around here.
I like how drifters always talk about their car like they're not the ones driving it.
Well, if
you said
we're all social
the car is made podiums,
it's the car that everybody sees. Nobody knows what we look like.
Right. That's so funny.
It's probably our fault. We never post pictures of our faces on the internet.
Yeah, you go through our accounts. It's just cars. All right. Well, I guess give a little bit more in-depth rundown on this thing before we get too far into it.
This car, it's my S14. You want to go through basically a build list kind of thing?
Yeah.
So it's got a Smedding Performance Stroker LS3. So it's a 6.8 liter high compression engine. Dog box, Widner's quick change, Wise Fab front and rear. It's kind of like the easy recipe for FT cars nowadays, I guess. It's just short 500 horsepower. Makes just short of 600.
Damn, I didn't realize they made that much.
Yeah. Makes
That's crazy.
It's kind of debatable because the dyno it was tuned on is a big TX2K shop dyno.
Okay.
And their tuner was like, hey, just so you know, it's not going to read very high. We have our dyno set to 15% low so we can get our cars in lower classes at 2K so we win more. And
you cheaters.
I didn't know if I'd believe that, but then the car got dynoed with this engine package and going from a 6.2 to a 6.8 and higher compression, it made the same power.
No shit.
But it fuels way faster. So I think it's right. But if you add 15%, it's 580.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild,
Yeah.
bro.
It's just kind of like the bolt-in FD car deal minus a blower or nitrous or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Didn't you have an E30 at once?
I did originally.
Wasn't that your first drift car?
Yeah, I bought that car. It was S52 swapped. I did angle kit on it.
For the dummies and me, which one does the S52 come in?
That's originally the E36 M3 engine.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it makes low to mid 200s maybe. Okay. Nothing crazy, but that car was not built very well. So it didn't last long.
Fair enough.
Blew a head gasket, blew up, sold that off, and I used that money to help fund my Z purchase. So my Z I actually bought almost totally built. It already had Wise Fab, coilovers, cage, all that stuff. Gotcha. So I pretty much could just jump in it and go.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know I kind of made a joke about you being a hometown hero, but do you actually kind of feel like you are? I feel like you're really well known in Texas. At least this car is.
Yeah, as far as Texas goes, probably. Like, if I go compete somewhere, all the Texas guys are always, like, messing with me the whole time. Everybody's watching and all that stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that. Texas has so many really good drivers that it's kind of hard to be the hometown hero guy because there's so many good drivers here. I mean, like Nick Novak won an FD round next year. He got his license in Texas. Ben Hobson got his license in Texas, and he's driving for RTR now. Like,
that's true.
So many good drivers came out of Texas that I don't know if I can claim that title.
Who would you say is probably the hometown hero of Texas, given there are so many good drivers?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I think right now, probably, I don't want to, like, toot my own horn, but it's probably between me and Ben, I would say.
Okay.
Ben's definitely doing bigger and better things. He's driving for RTR and FD. Like,
Ben.
That's about as cool.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that. At least, well, I guess that wouldn't make sense because outside of Texas, most people wouldn't even know that he's from Texas.
Yeah, but he's also not a Texas boy. You know, he's from Georgia.
He doesn't act like it.
But he's from Georgia, but he did most of his pro-am driving in Texas.
Right.
So this is like where he like got good, you
know.
But I don't know. Take that as you will. Ben's doing cool stuff. Nick's doing cool stuff. Bunch of guys have been to FD. Bunch of guys have won, comps all over the place.
Yeah. How long actually have you been driving? Like total?
My first real event was like halfway through 2018. Okay. But I'm a sim kid. So
son of a bitch.
Thousands of hours on a Seto, VDC Pro driver.
Screw you. I suck at it.
But yeah, I did all the sim stuff since I was 14. Then whenever I got my Z and went to Lone Star, I won my first comp.
No shit.
It translated super well.
Okay, so your first like laps ever in a drift car was on a sim.
Yes, definitely. Then I started driving in real life with the E30 in 2018.
Gotcha.
I only got like
what sim setup did you have back then?
Originally I had a Thrustmaster T300 with like this old Fanatec base they don't even make anymore, like a chassis. It's horrible. I actually sold it to my girlfriend. Like if you get into it too fast, it'll try and fall over. Like it's real rickety. Then I had like their pedals and their shifter, and I had a button on the wheel mapped to the handbrake. It was real janky. Yeah.
What in the hell?
Then I broke that wheel, the belt snapped, and I broke 4 TXs, Thrustmaster TXs, all belt problems. They all got warranty, but I got tired of it, and I eventually bought a Club Sport 2.5 wheel and upgraded their pedals and got a real handbrake.
Gotcha. Well, since you went through all of that, what is your opinion on the cheaper sims and like for people trying to, I guess, get into drifting and that's all they can afford?
You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get a good setup, especially not anymore. Like whenever I started, the good stuff was a lot less common to find and it was really expensive. But I would say if you're serious about it and you actually want to get into drifting, you're not like on like a little fad for a few weeks.
Right.
Get like the entry level like Sim Magic stuff or entry level Moses stuff. Like get one of the entry direct drive stuff.
Yeah, Moses is like apparently the best budget friendly, but
I would say it's good-ish
system.
The Sim Magic stuff's good too, and they're both pretty affordable. But if you get into a direct drive base, the feedback and like the skill ceiling from the wheel is way higher than like a belt driven wheel, and you can get into those so much cheaper now. Like back whenever I started, an entry level direct drive wheel was $1,500 just for a base, and now you can get them for $500. So I would get that. I would get a pedal set with a load cell, and then save your money on the shifter and handbrake.
What does the load cell do?
So you know like how in a real car, when you press the brake, it's how hard you press it?
Okay.
So
I know what you're talking about.
Is basically like it has a sensor in it that you can set to X number of kilograms, and how hard you push the pedal is how much brake you get. But like the entry level pedals are potentiometers, so it's how far you push the pedal determines how hard you brake, which is really unnatural when you've driven real cars.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Dude, some of the technology and shit they're coming out with, that stuff just boggles my mind.
Yeah, it's super
I don't understand it.
Some of that stuff is awesome.
Okay, then I guess the direct drive wheels, if someone was... Which one would you suggest to someone on a budget? Like, specifically?
Probably the entry-level Sim Magic one right now, is what I would say.
What makes that one better than any other budget one, in your opinion?
It has enough power in it. I think it's an 8 Newton meter motor, so you'll never max it out. Like Like my wheelbase, I think is a 21 or 27 Newton meter motor, and I run it in the software at like 50%, and then it's at like 60% in Assetto. So like that's almost nothing, right? So if you go get like an 8 or 10 Newton meter base, you're good. And then the SimMagic software is really easy to use, really user friendly. Okay. So it's easy to get the wheel going and feeling good. And there's lots of support for it.
Because that's the one thing that kind of pushes me. I don't have the time to set it up for one. So like, and I have a car, so like I don't necessarily need a sim other than to practice.
I got on the sim to learn how to drive, and then once I started competing really heavy, I use it as kind of like a training deal. I don't drive much, but like if I'm driving a new car or have a big comp coming up, I'll go practice for that.
Okay. So were you doing like comps and stuff in the sim?
Yeah, so I'm a VDC Pro driver, which is like their FD. Oh, so like
I've tried to watch some of that.
There's lots of FD drivers, lots of Driftmaster drivers in there. And the guys who aren't real pro drivers are better than real pro drivers in sim. They're robots. It's insane. But yeah, that's where I think started to get good was whenever I got into that and started battling those guys.
How do you even get into the VDC stuff? Is it just like joining, or do you have to like apply for it, or what?
Back then they had 2 licensing events a year, and basically how it worked was they'd pick a track, and you would have to go qualify for the comp, and you had to place so high in the comp, and you got a license. Nowadays, it's kind of like FD, where they have, I think it's 4 series that you have to place in the top 3 of, get a license. Or you have to be a pro driver in real life. One of the 2.
Well, that's fucking dumb. Pro drivers just get to cheat and go right in.
If you're an FD
that's
driver,
bullshit, actually, because if you're a pro driver and then you jump on never been on a sim, I guarantee you're going to suck at the sim.
Some of them have. Like, some of them go and they don't ever qualify.
That's whack.
But, like, Ryan Literal won a round this year in VDC, and he killed it. And if you judge his driving from last year to this year, night and day. And it's just because in the off-season this year, he put a ton of time into sim. He got really good.
Okay, so then as far as, like, training or practicing, whatever you want to call it, for an event, what... Do you just drive that track that you're going to be driving, or like what do you go through to practice?
Depends if I like the track or not. If I don't like the track I'm driving in real life, I'll just find a track I like that's kind of similar and like speed, and just drive that. More fun. Yeah. Like for TMS, I never actually drive TMS. I'll go drive like Riga, the Driftmasters track. Yeah, because it's really fast. Kind of similar, not really at all, but it's more fun. So I
like it better. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I guess before the sim stuff, weren't you into like stance cars and stuff too? A little bit, like show car stuff.
Man, did you stalk my Instagram or something?
Dude, I go way back. I do research on everybody.
Yeah. So that's more so what. Yeah. Okay. So whenever I was real young, my dad always had something at least kind of fast in the family. So I really liked like really fast like TX2K cars growing up.
Okay.
And then I realized that whenever you're younger, there's no way you're ever obtaining a 800 horsepower and up car.
Right.
So I got kind of into, I wouldn't say they were stance cars. Like I had a slammed Miata that had a turbo kit, but it had like good suspension on it, so it drove nice. It was just low. And then after that, I had an FRS that had like it was the OG, like the first made in America, well, first to America Rocket Bunny V2 kit. Okay. And it was bagged, but it had a turbo kit, and that was a stance car.
All the canards.
That was a stance car, yeah. That thing was a shitbox.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. That car is actually famous. Like, it was the first wide-bodied FRS BRZ in the country, and it went crazy.
No shit.
Kit. Yeah.
How did you get a hold of that kit then?
So I had a stock one.
Okay.
And the guy that built that car, he lived in California. He actually like designed the car for one of the new Need for Speed games. On the cover, it had like I think it was a yellow Volvo, like wide body deal.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
He actually built that car.
No way.
Yeah. So he was wanting to build an FRS into like a full blown like pro level drift car, right?
Yeah.
So he wanted a stock one to start with. So I hit him up and I was like, I got a stock one. And we traded. So I got one of those. And that car was a mess. Yeah. But I had like an S2000 after that, and that wasn't a stance car at all. That car was just fun.
That car was cool, though.
Yeah, that car was really good.
It looked like a really nice car.
I mean, it was just like wheels, coilovers, and like a bumper and a wrap.
Yeah, but I mean,
drove great.
The stance scene back then, that's kind of all it was.
Yeah, that car was like
and wheels,
functional ride height, and like a good car. The FRS was not. That car was awful.
What was so bad about it then?
Well, for example, I pulled it off the moving truck, like whenever I got here, like the delivery truck, and the supercharger blew up. Yeah, that was pretty sick. So I had a turbo kit for the stock car, and I put that on. The body kit was just beat to hell, and he told me it was really nice. Like, I don't know if he photoshopped the pictures he sent me, or if they were just old ones, but the car just showed up kind of beat. It never really ran right. Which might have been the guys who tuned its fault. I don't know. It was an Instagram car.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about those cars for drifting?
You know, that's honestly such a debate nowadays.
I know. I'm surprised a lot of people don't use them more.
I think in stock form for grassroots stuff, the power plant is bad. Like, they don't make enough torque stock to really do much. They're light, which helps them.
Yeah.
And the engines just don't hold much power. So you pretty much have to swap them to make them truly viable outside of, like, second gear go-kart tracks.
That sucks, dude. They're such a good chassis.
For competition stuff, they seem awesome. Some guys like Denofa say they're terrible for competition drift car and they can't be competitive. And I agree with Chelsea on almost everything he says, other than that, because that car wins in every series in the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal car.
Yeah.
I like them. I don't like the look of them, per se, that may be a hot point for some of you.
Honestly, I kind of agree with you for the most part.
Just that one. Yeah. The new ones, dude. Fuck.
The GR.
Good lord. Like so Nate's good. Car? Yes.
That car is probably the top of my list for cars to replace this one day.
No shit.
GR86. That'd be cool.
I just want one of the daily.
Yeah.
They're so fucking really comfortable and fun.
They're really slow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're fun.
Damn. Okay. Well, so did you ever go to like shows and stuff?
I went to like meets and stuff. I never like entered my cars into car shows or anything like that. I wasn't that interested in it. It was
I tried a couple times. I
couldn't afford to go on track anywhere. So that was the more obtainable thing at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I guess you mentioned that you kind of grew up around cars technically, or?
So whenever I was really young, like my parents took cars to the dealership for oil changes. Like we didn't have a tool set in the house. Like I knew nothing about cars. And my dad would buy he had some Mercedes for a little bit, and he had like a couple GTRs. Like nothing super crazy, but enough to make me really interested in it. And then I didn't really want to go down that kind of path. I wanted to do some form of racing, and I fell into drifting because it was the affordable way. So I mean, it's not like I didn't have anybody helping me build stuff. Like all of that was on me. I had to learn all that on my own.
I feel that. That was
YouTube
the same way.
Taught,
yeah, YouTube University, baby.
This car is YouTube built. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing with that car.
That's awesome. I love the Thrasher seats.
Happened to work.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But no, I grew up around cars in not in the modified sense. Like we weren't building cars. We weren't modifying cars. We weren't doing any of that. Like we just had some cars that happened to be fast.
Gotcha. Okay, so they were just nicer cars.
Yeah, my dad was an optometrist, so.
Damn. So no influence whatsoever on cars, personally.
No, we influenced him to buy cars growing up. That was how that worked. Yeah, I liked Top Gear a lot as a kid, so that probably was most of it.
Okay.
Watched a lot of Top Gear.
So okay, then what did you do before you got into cars, in general?
I like basketball a lot. But I'm
really?
Not tall, and I can't jump that high, so
fell out
of that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I really started getting into cars in high school. But
no BMX or anything? No skating? No none of that?
No, I'm really fragile. I hurt myself a lot.
So I tried skating hurt your whenever fucking I was a kid. Finger.
Yeah. Exhibit A. But yeah, I tried skateboarding as a kid. Hurt my ankle really bad, and I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So I was just very bad at it. I sucked at skating.
Yeah.
BMX, I was a little better.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Then you see people doing 12K stairs and shit, crazy. And I'm like, y'all are fucking stupid. Hell no.
Yeah, never was into that stuff. I tried, got hurt, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Damn.
Played a lot of golf as a kid. Dad was a big golfer. Yeah.
Oh, I hate golf. I played baseball as a kid, so I got a baseball swing.
I played a good
I literally just told you this the other day. He's off camera, you can't see him. But I was like, dude, every time I hit a golf ball, it goes that way.
Yeah. Classic baseball player thing.
Yeah. So you kind of stand a little crooked. That way you shoot it that way, and it just lands where you actually want it.
Yeah. But then you'll hit it dead straight over there, and it'll be gone. That's how it works. No, I got hurt too much, so I ended up
God.
playing golf before I got into cars. Pretty much how that works.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sounds boring.
Not that interesting. Not that interesting.
All right. Well, I guess give me a little bit of rundown on the S2000 actually.
On the S2000?
Before we go too much deeper.
I mean, it was really basic, dude. Like, it had Fortunato coilovers, some Kansei wheels, had a real Voltex front bumper, which is kind of cool. And it was just wrapped like a brown color. I mean, it was really simple. It had an exhaust.
How much do you pay for that car?
It was like 22.
No shit.
Yeah. It was a really nice one, too. Like, super low miles.
Oh, okay. That's
Super
why.
nice.
Yeah. It's always insane to me how expensive those damn things are.
They're only getting worse, too. Like, if I had that car still today, it was still low miles, it's probably a $50,000 car now.
But why? Like, that's what I've never understood. Is like parts are readily available. They're cheap as balls for the most part.
There's not that many nice ones left. And if you think about it, it's one of the last like true driver's cars, right? They're like 2,600 pounds, 9,000 RPM from the factory. Light, they drive really well. They're easy to make into really good track cars. The engines hold a lot of power. Like, there's people making like 800 wheel on a stock block F20.
Oh yeah,
they're awesome.
I believe that.
I get why they're expensive. I don't think I'd ever spend like $50,000 on an S2000.
Yeah, no, hell no. I've always loved them, especially the way they look. But it's just a better Miata in a sense.
It's so different than a Miata when you drive. Have you ever driven one?
Yeah, not spiritedly. I wish, but
it's a Miata that revs to 9,000 RPM, and anything that revs to 9,000 is awesome. Like, I don't think you can get around that.
Especially with a 4-cylinder, that's nuts.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love those cars.
Why do you think a lot of motorsports outside of like road racing haven't adopted that chassis as much?
S2000s?
Yeah.
The wheelbase is really short. The big thing, like for drift cars, they are not great to drive.
I don't know, man. Justin rips the fuck out of his car.
I'm sure they're fine once you get used to them. But like, there's just better options available. You know? They're actually somewhat popular in drag racing, which is weird.
Really?
So I think it's because they're light and the engines can make a lot of power. You don't have to, go too crazy on them, but they work pretty well.
Wouldn't they like wheelie really bad?
They do really, really bad. You just got to you got to fix that. I mean, I've seen them run like mid-7s.
No shit.
They're fast, dude.
Damn. And that's all on like stock motor and everything? Most of the time?
I'm sure they're built motor making like 1,500 at that point, but it is the original engine in the car, yeah.
Fucking Jesus.
Yeah. They also accept like LS swaps really well. Engine bays are really long, really big.
Yeah. Okay.
These fit really good too. I don't know why people don't drive them and other stuff. I guess it's just, there's probably just better chassis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody makes any angle kits for him. Except for customs. Josiah is like somewhat working on one. Like he made one for Justin and like it works. But I'm sure there's like some minor things that his engineering brain wants to tweak.
There's a guy in Houston that drives one every now and then in Lone Star. And it has a supercharged, is it a J... What's the Honda V6? J35? J20?
I think it's a 35. J35.
Whatever it is.
It's J series. Whatever.
The minivan V6 thing. Yeah. Supercharged, makes a bunch of power, and it's the loudest car I've ever heard. It's fast.
They sound pretty bad.
So fast.
But, yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound good. It's really loud, though.
I'm surprised a lot of people don't rear-wheel drive convert those and use them a lot more.
The Honda stuff?
The J series.
Yeah.
Like K.
I don't know, honestly.
K series, you see it all the time, but
I think Jimmy Oaks has a rear-wheel drive Civic, but I haven't not really seen many people do that.
Well, no, just rear-wheel drive convert the motor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen K-Series
nobody uses
J
series
either, though.
K-Series does pretty well.
I see a lot of them blow up.
Well, yeah, because they rev to fucking the moon,
I mean,
and then people
really
people like Hurt just sit on limiter all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see them blow up a lot more than I see them work. I wish they worked good, and if somebody figures that out, I'd love to have one. They make awesome power.
I'm contemplating doing that, or I'd love to do an SR swap in my FC, but more than likely it'll be a K series.
I feel like a K series is probably a safer route than an SR.
Absolutely, but
somebody's going to figure out a really reliable turbo 4-cylinder that's like a good SR, and it's going to be awesome.
When the 4-cylinder LS comes out.
Dude, I want that engine so bad. That thing's supposed to make like 500 torque in a...
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Boosted.
That is so
too.
Cool.
Just...
Aren't
they going to boost it, or...?
I don't know. It was just a concept. I don't even know if it's going to come out.
Oh.
I hope it does.
I thought it was like something they were heavily...
I hope so.
Like looking at doing.
I hope so. I don't know. I haven't really looked into them that much. I just remember when it got released and I really wanted one.
Man, that'd be so sick. You go to O'Reilly's, buy a head for it.
I bet that thing would work real good too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, since you didn't have like the influence on cars, let me ask you this: what was the first actual car you worked on? Like that actually taught you how to work on cars?
I like more than like an exhaust job or something.
Yeah, more than your average oil change, wheel bearing replacement, whatever.
I mean, I guess I did like maintenance and fix broken stuff on my Z. More so like wheel bearing kind of stuff because those cars don't really break.
Yeah.
I never did anything in depth, and whenever I got this car, it was a bare shell, not a single bolt in the car. I just had like some tubs of stuff. I had a 1J IS300.
No idea where it goes.
Yeah. And it just showed up as a shell with a bunch of stuff. So I knew almost nothing when I got this car. And I figured it out and built it, and it managed to win Pro-Am the first year. So I did it right. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I got lucky, I guess. But yeah, no, definitely this car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what was like your first, I guess, gateway to drifting then after that? Like when did you first see drifting and be like, yeah, that's definitely got to happen, even before the sim?
I think the first time I saw drifting and really like paid attention to it was like the old Turk series on YouTube.
Okay.
You ever watch those?
I've seen
like Ryan
bits
Turk's
of
like
them,
vlog stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. They used to do like all kinds of just like street drifting and stuff, but they do like games of drift and whatnot. Okay. And like it was like playing horse, but in a drift car. You know what I mean? Like they did one at TMS, and they would like set up cones in random spots, but like you have to 360 through here backwards and then parallel park after that or something.
So like a dumbed down version of Hyperdrive?
Yeah, sort of. It was awesome. I thought it was the coolest thing. And then I got into, I watched like option videos, watching FT.
Yeah.
I found the whole competition world. I found all the old Japanese videos. Everybody does that stuff. Everybody gets into all of it.
Repetitive.
Probably that. Originally, I wanted to be like a road racer, but then I realized how expensive it is.
So explain that, because like on the outside, from someone looking at drifting, never been in it, never been involved, it looks way more expensive than road racing.
You think?
Exactly.
You think it would be?
So like, especially, I don't really hardly know shit about road racing.
There are levels of road racing that you can do pretty affordably. Like if you just want to go do, like for example, we're going to Crescent tomorrow, right? There's a time attack deal going on at the same time. If that's all you want to do, no big deal.
Yeah.
You can run one pair of tires for probably a year. Your car doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to put a bunch of money into it. You can just go have fun.
Yeah.
But like take Spec Miata, for example, right? It's a spec series. Everybody's in the same car. Everybody has the same engine. The engines are sealed. Like everything is very regulated, right?
Yeah.
What people don't understand is like to go from the back of the pack to winning in a national spec Miata series is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like the R&D those guys put in those cars to make 1 more horsepower, 2 more foot-pounds of torque is insane. And that is because that makes them win. If everybody has the same car, but you're 4 miles an hour faster down the straightaway, you win.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true.
It's not like drivers being the same, obviously. And that's like the entry level of road racing, right?
Yeah.
So then you want to go a step past that, right? Say you want to do Formula Ford, Formula Atlantic, whatever it is now. That is an open wheel, little baby Formula One car, basically.
Yeah, a toothpick on wheels.
That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like if you want to buy into that, or you have to get sponsored, which doesn't exist because there's 4,000 of you out there trying to go for the same chair.
Oh my god.
Like if you look, and then you go next step, and it gets exponentially more. Like if you took the amount of money it takes to run a Formula Drift Pro 1 season, including building the car, including getting your tow rig, including everything, right?
Yeah.
That's probably equivalent to like 1 or 2 steps above spec Miata. And that is the top level of drifting.
That's fucking ridiculous.
So yes, you can go buy a Miata, put coilovers on it, and go have track days.
Yeah.
And have fun for cheaper than drifting for sure. But if you want to do something competitive and you want to win, so you want to go to like an FD type deal, right?
Yeah,
in the road
you want to
racing
make
world,
it to the big leagues.
10x, at least.
Dude. That sucks.
Well, because you could privateer yourself. Like take, let's go like Indy Lights, the series below IndyCar, right? So it's still like kind of like a junior category, but you're one step from the top level of like that like tree, right? Everything in road racing has a tree. So you have like a tree to IndyCar, you have a tree to NASCAR, you have a tree to Formula One. You have steps you have to go through. Okay, so if you go one step below IndyCar and you wanted to privateer your way there, I bet you it's totally a guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
A few $1 million. Do a season of that because you have to buy the car. Dude. You have to have a spare chassis. You have to have spare engines. You have to have a semi-truck toter home to carry it all in. The buy-in to the series are crazy. The running costs of the cars are crazy. If you crash, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars for another car.
Yeah.
Like, if you do that compared to running an FD Pro car, you can do a season of FD Pro for probably, if you're on a budget, probably about 60 or 70 grand. Plus building the cars. So say you can do a whole season starting from nothing for $250.
Hirsch did it with like 30.
Yeah. You can do it really cheap.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that's the cost of doing a really competitive spec Miata season on like a national level.
Mm-hmm. So, like, a lot of those guys that are higher up having the extra chassis, the extra engines, all that stuff, this sounds like a weird question, but do their engines and shit like have an expiry date? Like, are they do they have like a guess, like I'll get this many events and that engine's probably going to be toast?
The problem is it all comes down to like minuscule losses, right? So if you do say 10 races on an engine versus somebody who's done no races on their engine, you're going to be down on power compared to them. And the chassis are all the same. So it's not so much how long the engine could last, it's how long can it
until
be
it wears out a little bit.
You know? Because you also can't risk a failure, because if you go to a track on an old engine and it blows up halfway through the race, you wasted so much money trying to go do that.
Damn.
Like, I've never done this. This is
so much
all
more risk.
Like just research and like looking into it, just 'cause I'm interested in that kind of thing. So I mean, I haven't gone and ran Indy Lights. I don't know if it's $5 million, but add it all up.
I'm sure that's not very far off.
You know?
Yeah.
But
do you ever see yourself like eventually doing it?
It would have to be a
money's
situation where some team was like, "Hey, you want to come drive our car for a season?" Then yes,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Times are changing, bro.
I would love to.
Nate just got called to go do some road racing out of nowhere in those little rush cars or whatever. Those things are wild.
Cool. Those things are cool.
Okay, so what do you think about those?
They're awesome, and they're a pretty affordable way into it.
I was talking to someone. He said you can run an entire season on $5,000. I was like, you're lying.
Well, I think they're like $50,000 to get into one of those cars.
Okay.
And then I haven't looked into them super hard, but I think they're a Kawasaki motorcycle engine or something. They're a motorcycle. They rev like 11 or 12,000 RPM.
Oh yeah, they're real high.
So I think they're like a motorcycle drivetrain in a car that weighs nothing. So like, you got to think, if your car weighs 900,000 pounds, there's no wear on anything. So like your consumable price is really low, but it's the same thing. Like if you want to go travel around the country doing like, I don't even know if they have a national rush series. I assume they do.
Yeah, I saw them at Grid Life for the first time.
So they have like a national series. I'm sure the entry fees are high.
Yeah.
I'm sure the travel costs are high. I'm sure those cars don't hold up well to contact. So you probably are looking at a lot of costs in maintaining the car.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that gets expensive too. But yeah, I think if you like showed up, never crashed, and never blew anything up, $5,000 probably wouldn't be that far off outside of entry fees and travel.
So wild.
But that's
to think of any motorsport to be able to do a season that way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably $5,000 in just car upkeep if nothing goes wrong.
Oh yeah.
That's not factoring in like actually going and driving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just talking about the car.
Yeah.
What all pertained to the car.
Because the drivetrains are simple.
So crazy. I'm sure. Well, I don't know anything about motorcycles hardly either. So, but
Me neither.
parts I would guess, you can correct me in the comments, would be relatively cheap for that.
I can't imagine like a brand new one of those engines is more than a couple grand.
That's wild.
Like even if you needed a brand new, I mean, I might be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine them being more than that.
They'll correct us. That's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know. I know Japanese
where
cars.
were
I don't
we?
know motorcycles. But
All right. I don't even remember where we were. We just kind of went on a rant. Okay. So the 350Z then.
Mhm.
You said you got that solely because of the E30 blowing up?
E30 blew up, and I managed to sell it for a pretty good price. And I had some money saved up, so I had a budget, and I was just trying to find the most track-ready car I could.
Okay.
And I fell into that.
So there was no like reasoning behind the Z chassis?
No, I was looking for anything in my price range that I thought would be reliable, and I could go pick it up and go drifting.
Damn.
And I got lucky that I picked probably the best car I possibly could have.
Okay, so when was this? Like, what year was it?
I bought the car January 10th, 2019.
19. Okay, so I guess Zs were kind of becoming popular then.
They weren't what they are now, and like
Yeah, no.
SR swapped S13s were really common in grassroots drifting. Like it was still that kind of era still. The Zs were starting to take over, but they weren't the go-to yet.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fell into that car. Like I said, it was already all put together. Took it out to like a fun event out here. I think the next weekend or something, and the car was flawless.
Just beat the piss out of it.
Great.
Yeah. Did it drive? Well, I guess you didn't really have much experience in the E30 to be able to tell driving difference and stuff.
I mean, it was definitely heavier, and it definitely steered differently than the E30 did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was great. Drove like it did on Assetto.
Yeah. You say it had Wisefab too, right?
Yeah.
So what version Wisefab? Was the old one without the sway
the
bar?
V1.
Okay. So did you like that kit?
Yeah, loved it. We put a sway bar on it.
Oh.
It had a really thick front bar that mounted to the shock body. And that made a big difference on that car.
Okay, because I drove one that didn't have a sway bar, and I absolutely hated it. It was atrocious.
They just kind of transitioned odd with that one. They're real
you like babysit the wheel the entire time.
Well, I actually kind of like that, to be honest. I like this car runs like 3 degrees of caster. And it'll self-steer on its own, but it'll only go to as much angle as I want it to.
Okay.
Which is the beauty. Like, my least favorite thing in a car is when you transition, and it just snaps so hard, it just wants to flop to lock. My least favorite thing. And every high caster car I drive wants to do that. Drives me nuts. I hate caster. If I could get less and it wouldn't hit my wheel well, I would.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love the self-steer. Like, I was just showing him some videos from Mid-Pond, and it's like, you're just barely touching the wheel. It's just letting it do its own thing.
I don't want it to be dead, but...
Well, yeah.
Like, I can still drive all my cars and let go and let them transition on their own, or I can flick them really hard to lock. Like, it's up to me at that point.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the biggest advantage in chase driving. Like, whenever you're trying to transition tightly on somebody's door, like door right across rear bumper to door, and the car is trying to go to a bunch of angle, it's really hard to do that. But if you can walk it to as much angle as you want, you can control that transition so much better.
Yeah.
Especially
I've
when
never
you
even
get
thought
into
about that, because I don't ever deal with competition stuff. So
especially when you start getting into really grippy cars that are going fast. Like, if you can slow that movement down and control it how you want to, huge advantage.
Secret sauce, baby.
But yeah, the Z was the wide step.
Gotcha. Okay. So what did you ever do anything extra to that car, or was it just you just kept it that simple?
So at the time, it was a stock untuned DE V1 Wisefab on Fortunato 500s. I drove it like that for a couple years, and then Texas Street Legal started to get really competitive. If you guys don't know what Texas Street Legal is, it's Lone Star's like grassroots series. You can't have an engine swap. You have to have stock injectors. LS cars have to have stock headers too, because if you have an LS and you have stock headers, a lot of the other modifications don't do much for you. They're not going to open your engine up to see if you have a cam or something.
Right.
So it's pretty much stock injectors. The engine that came in the car, no engine swaps. I don't think there's any other big rules. That's pretty much it. But basically, it's a lot of 350Zs. Some Corvettes, but mostly Z's, some BMWs. And it started getting really competitive. And it was to the point where my car was starting to feel a little bit slow. So I did cams in it.
No shit.
JWT C8s. It chopped like an LS car. It was sick. It went from like 240 wheel to like 280 wheel. So it was a pretty good power increase.
That's crazy.
After that V1 Wisefab hit 7 years, I finally replaced it with a newer kit. For no other reason than it was just getting worn out.
Yeah.
The new kit drove the same pretty much. Put like an off-the-shelf bar on it. Then Nick Swan hit me up with Fortunato and started working with them. And they sent me out a new pair of Fortunato 510s, which is just like it's an upgraded version of the 500. It's not like a crazy two-way or anything, but it's a really good shock. So I did that. I drove it like that for a couple years. Won Texas Street League on that setup. And then I blew it up, cracked 5 pistons at the CODA demo because I broke a fuel line, fuel feed line under the car, 4. Leaned out, cracked 5 pistons, rebuilt the car with built bottom end, built rods, pistons, built head. We never dynoed it, but it probably made like 320 or so on a DE. Damn. Yeah, that car was really good like that.
Holy shit. Was awesome. It's not very common to hear someone build a VQ.
No, I was just convinced that honestly, you can ask any of the Texas guys. We all think that DE is like a unicorn. It was crazy. It was the best DE ever, and I just didn't want to let it go.
That's how mine was to me. Yeah, I could not. The last event I tried as hard as possible to blow that motor up, and I destroyed 4 wheels in the process instead of the motor.
If you take care of them, they're good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, mine. Like I was beating like Pro-Am cars or like baby FD cars in competition at my DE car.
Yeah.
Like, it just made
you
power.
can grip them the
it
hell
was
up.
Fast.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
DE or HR?
HR is better. It makes more power. Honestly, I like the power band of a DE more. I feel like HRs are kind of peaky.
Yeah.
They're both good. Just don't get a rev up. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the rev up.
See a lot of them blow up.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
DE's better if you get it tuned with a bigger red line. Like if you get it to like 69.7.
That is one thing I wish I would have done with mine.
Then it turns into every track is great in second.
And then tune out the gas pedal delay.
Yeah. Tunes on those cars, everybody says there's no point in tuning a Z because you only gain like 5 horsepower. And yes,
it feels like so much more though.
You gain a ton in the mid-range. The throttle response is way better.
Yeah.
And you can raise the rev limiter to where every track is awesome in second gear.
Dude,
it's great.
Go tune your Z. How much did it cost to just get a simple tune on your Z?
I think it was like $400 at the time.
Dude,
I don't know what they are
so
now,
cheap.
but yeah.
Yeah.
It made 10 more horsepower, maybe 7 or 10, but it was a whole different car. Just with a tune.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what is your opinion on the whole Z thing? Where there's such a good car to get into drifting, like is that this car you would probably suggest to newbies?
100%.
Okay.
There's just no car that can offer you more laps per dollar than a Z. They're not that cool looking.
Agree.
They're really hard.
Computer mouse, bro.
They're really hard.
That's exactly what they look like.
They're still somewhat cheap. They're getting kind of unreasonably expensive because they're all getting totaled. But they make enough power to drive pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
You can do it at almost any track. They don't break. All you have to do is just make sure you take care of them. Like you can't just neglect them and expect them to last for 10 years. You got to do maintenance. You got to keep up with that stuff. But if you do you'll
simple
never have
maintenance.
Oil changes.
Do oil change before every event. You'll be fine. I never even put a catch can on my car.
Like, I did at one point because a lot of blow by for a little bit there. It was bad. But
I had like a stain on my intake from where oil just like puddles right there. It's fine. Yeah. No, didn't hurt nothing.
Yeah.
But
don't put Rotella in them and they'll be good.
What?
Rotella, the oil?
Why?
Diesel oil? Terrible, dude.
I never did.
Hilarious, dude.
I never even think to use Rotella.
Every time I see a VQ blow up, almost every time without fail, it's on Rotella T6. I don't know
if this is so bad though.
Is it popular in other parts, like where you're from, to run Rotella in drift cars?
No, I don't even remember the last time I thought about the brand Rotella.
Dude, everybody here runs it Because it's cheap.
Everyone runs VR1.
Yeah, that's what you should run.
Yeah. Get you some Renegade, brother.
Dude.
Renegade's where it's at.
VR1, in terms of something you can go to the parts store and buy, the best. It's awesome. But
Renegade's better.
Tell it blows stuff up.
Don't let him. Renegade's better.
I haven't tried it. I don't know, man.
I'm just kidding.
VR1's great.
Not kidding, but kidding. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll move on.
Yeah. Rotella blows your car up with VR1 in it.
That's funny. I've literally never heard that.
Yeah, I don't guess that's just a Texas thing. It's a really common like diesel truck oil.
Well, what's so different about it?
It's a heavyweight oil, like it's a 1540, and
that's what I run.
It's cheap, so people think it's good. And then for a little bit, people thought it was like the savior of SR20s or something, and it's just not. It's not designed to be hot. When it gets hot, it breaks down and it doesn't work.
It just thins out like crazy and shit. Yeah.
I don't know the science behind it, but weird. I know they blow up with Rotella in them.
If there's anyone that's watching that knows the science behind it,
let me know.
Yeah. Comment and let us know. I'll reach out because that's hilarious. Okay, so I've always said the DEs are better. Have you seen more of like HRs blow up rather than DEs?
DE and HR probably about the same.
Really?
Rev ups blow up all the time.
Rev ups, yeah. Like I don't even put them in the question because it's
no, I don't really see
nonsense.
A whole lot of a difference. I really think they both just come down to, do you do your oil changes? What oil do you put in it? And do you understand what hot is?
Do you understand what hot is? Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
They're both great.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. You said that's actually the Z is the first car that I knew you driving. But you also had the red and yellow livery, like you said.
Yeah, that car is all yellow, and like the livery elements are a lot of red. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the deal with the yellow and red? Like, what's the significance of it?
There isn't one. It? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like the color yellow, like at all. But for whatever reason, on drift cars in particular, I think it works great.
What the
And so I was like, man, it looks kind of cool on drift cars. And nobody in Texas had a yellow drift car at the time. There's a lot of red cars. I like red a lot, but there's a whole clan in Texas called Red or Dead. I like most of them. But I didn't want to feel like I was copying them. So I was like, I'm going to find a color nobody else has that looks cool in a drift car. I'm going to paint my car that color. And it was yellow. And then I was like, I want a livery. And I was trying to figure out a color that looks good with yellow.
Yeah.
And red's kind of the only one. I think blue kind of does it okay too.
Yeah, blue's a good one. Purple's a good one.
But I think red's the best one.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I felt like people kind of knew me from that color combo. So this car got the same thing. Everybody thinks I copied C's Garage or Adam LZ with this color combo. I didn't.
It was because it's a paint fade?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a C's Garage paint job, but that was not an influence at all. And I painted this car.
It's actually painted?
Yeah.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought the fade looked cool. I wanted to do that. And then LZ dropped his S15, literally the day after I painted the car before he even posted on Instagram. So it was like, you copied him. It was annoying.
Of course, everyone's going to take his side. Why'd you decide to paint it especially being a comp guy?
I just think it's cooler. Really the only reason. Yeah, I suck at vinyl wrap. So if you have to pay somebody to wrap your car every time, it gets expensive.
Yeah. I just don't like vinyl.
No, I
especially
think
like you said, working with it sucks.
Yeah.
I did my livery. I finished my livery at 3 a.m. the day I was supposed to leave to go to Mid-Pond for an event. I hated it every second of doing it.
I've had to redo.
Shout out Design Shop. It was good. It made the process easier. The vinyl you use is nuts, but no.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. No, I've just had to redo a little bit of delivery on this car a couple times. Oh, I hate it so much. It's the worst.
Making a line.
I'm so bad at it.
Don't look at the rear bumper all the way at the bottom near the exhaust tip. Just don't look at that part. Everything else looks pretty good. Who did your livery, actually?
So it's actually a buddy of mine from Assetto. His Instagram is Danger Graphics. He's done a couple of FD guys, but we've just kind of been friends for a long time on Sim.
Okay.
So he was like, "You want me to do your livery for you?" I was like, "Sure."
Shit.
Just really cheap, and he did a great job. I think it looks good. It's simple enough to where it's not bank breaking if you have to fix it.
Yeah.
But it still looks good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But did you have to go through like any like different versions of it to find the right one?
Not really,
Or you just
honestly.
kinda
We
said,
moved like some
do
stickers
this
around,
and
but
probably work.
yeah, we moved some stickers around, and that was kind of it.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still
Okay.
doing livery design, but if he is, good guy.
There you go.
I like that dude.
All right. Okay, so why did you end up going with an S chassis to do like an actual build with?
So I had a 1J IS300 for a little bit. It was green.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that because I was kind of getting tired, like not tired, but I was getting a little bit bored of only having a Z. So I got that car. It was great. Kind of did a build on it, nothing crazy. And one of my friends, his name's Zach Mitchamore.
Mm-hmm.
He does like final bout stuff now. He won Lone Star Pro-Am at one point. He wanted the Lexus, and he had a shell for an S14. He had the engine that's in this car. He had like a old side shift dog box, and he had like some bins of random stuff, right? And he was like, I'll trade you all this stuff plus cage material for your Lexus. And I was like, I kind of want to build a fast car, so sure.
Come on, give it.
So I fell into an S chassis.
Damn.
I didn't pick it. It was just offered to me, and I was like, it's a pretty good deal. Because I thought at the time it had everything I needed to just bolt it together.
You sure you like cars? I think you just like driving them.
I really like driving. I like driving more than I like cars, for sure. But
because every car you've gotten, you said I didn't really like choose it. It's just kind of happened.
I don't know. I couldn't go out and buy the car I wanted because they're all brand new and expensive, you know?
Well,
like if you want to build like an A90 Supra or something, it costs a lot of money. So
yeah, good luck
if somebody's
with that.
like, here's a free S14 shell with all this stuff. I mean, it had a fully built LS3. It had a dog box that came with it. Like all that stuff. I didn't use most of it. Like I sold the dog box. I sold almost everything that came with it.
Did you get some good money out of it though?
Yeah, some. Not enough to offset a new dog box.
Well, I'm sure.
But I didn't want a side shift. I wanted a top loader. So,
so you have no opinions on like the whole S chassis stuff and like which S chassis is best and like
for drifting?
No, I mean
I think the best
whatever.
S chassis for drifting is actually an S13.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The suspension and geometry in the back is a little better. There's not a whole. I mean, they run the same kits in the front for the most part. They're a little lighter, not much, but the rear suspension geometry is better to go fast.
Talking about a coupe, probably
Either
for the weight.
Either of
I
them.
assume the hatches.
I like
way
the
heavier,
coupe better.
but-
I think coupe looks better.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yeah.
They're in terms of driving, they're pretty much the same, but it's better than an S14, S15. But the S14, S15 is a newer car.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to find a nice one. They're a little bit more marketable, I would say. Not by much anymore, but
Yeah, that is one thing that I'm like, I've started to notice is the S chassis world is just not, everyone's walking away from it because of the marketability of it.
Well, if you're trying to go do a big series where, for grassroots stuff, if you get a sponsor and they're like, here's a set of coilovers, awesome. That's all you need. But if you're going to go do FD, you need money. You don't need parts because you probably already have the car and it costs so much money to go drive FD. That's why I didn't do FD this year. It's just the money side of it. You need cash.
Yeah.
And for a lot of companies nowadays, car companies for the most part aren't going to give you cash. Like you're not going to go to, X, Y, or Z parts company and get a bunch of money from them. You're mostly going to get parts, right? So if you want money, you have to go outside of the car world most of the time. And companies like, say you want to go down the street and talk to, I don't know, something weird, like a construction company, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to see more value in you having a 2024 model year car than a 1995 Nissan.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
And it gets to that point and it's frustrating because it costs a lot of money to do that. And you can't do it without sponsors, but you can't get sponsors with the car for the most part. But,
Okay, so that actually, this question, I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but it may have been you. The RTR guys, I should ask Ben, he probably knows, but do you think with their whole deal with Ford, like it's just giving them chassis? Like, what do you think that deal even is?
Okay. full disclosure, no idea.
Yeah, neither one of us have
No
no clue.
Could
Vaughn,
be
if you
wrong.
want to come on and talk about it, you're more than welcome to.
I
But-
know Vaughn has a lot of pull with Ford.
he's got
a
to.
lot of pull with Ford. I know they get fresh chassis. The Roush Yates engines in those cars are a Ford product. I think they're technically a Ford product. You probably get them from Ford, I would think. So that's probably covered, and I'm sure they are heavily backed by Ford. Because they're RTR. RTR is a Ford company, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going to go campaign under the RTR logo...
Did it start as a Ford company, though?
I don't know, actually.
I don't think it did.
It might have just been a Vaughn thing, and then he was partnered with Ford and eventually integrated in. That's a good question.
feel like
I have
Vaughn
no idea.
sold a portion of RTR
Probably.
to Ford.
I would think so. But no, I'm sure it's chassis. I'm sure it's engines. I'm sure it is large financial support.
Yeah.
Large. That is an expensive race program.
Oh, yeah.
That's proper stuff.
Yeah.
Those are race cars.
At Gingerman, there was one of their guys that helps out. I think it's one of their mechanics or whatever. He came stumbling out of the porta potty and realized it was like starting to sprinkle. He was like, God damn it. Now it's just going to get everything wet so we can pack it all up wet. And I was like, oh, I really don't wish to be you right now.
Yeah, I was at FD New Jersey and I was walking around their pit, and
It's a mad.
it's got to be a whole day to set that stuff up.
2 days.
Every bit of
2 days. Like
It's
it's a
crazy.
day just to get the rig there,
Yeah.
and then get in position where the rig needs to go.
Like, I'm talking like from the moment you park the rig to the moment you have everything set up has to be a full day's work at least. It's crazy. They have so much stuff. All those top teams do too. Like Papadakis guys are the same way. Like their setups are crazy. There's so
Wild
much
to
money
me,
in that
man.
stuff. I don't know where it comes from, but I want some of it.
Yeah, for real. Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you see like Caleb's got Walther and
Yeah.
stuff.
Dude,
that's
that is the
nuts.
coolest sponsor I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Best
if Block
sponsor yet.
walked up to me and was like, "Hey, can we sponsor you?" I would. I think I'd faint. It's the coolest thing in the world.
What do you need? How
Dude,
can I help?
Putting Walther on the side of your car had to be the coolest feeling.
That's a massive flex.
Yeah.
He said even with the car like braking at Grid Life at CMP, he pulled up to the line a couple of times and just had people confused as hell.
Dude, it's
They're like,
well,
what
it's
the,
so
how the
off
hell
the
did you
wall.
pull that off?
Like,
Yeah.
if you go in like NASCAR or something, every car has some random company on it, right? It's normal there.
Yeah.
But you go to an FD event, everybody's like, you see Njuku, you see BC Racing, you see XYZ Part Company. You don't see Walther.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no.
I think it's the coolest thing ever.
So you said you have Fortune and obviously like Tire Streets, stuff like that. Or do you want to explain that?
Yeah, I'm not with Tire Streets anymore at the moment.
Oh, okay.
That's a new thing. I just haven't updated the car. Great people. Love Tire Streets.
Right.
I feel like Tire Streets does more for the grassroots driver than any of the other tire companies right now. I was a big bulk buy guy with them. That's why I have so many tires.
Yeah,
I would buy
probably see it behind him. Yeah,
120 tires at a time, like mostly for other people.
Yeah.
And like the price you can get them for is like pre-COVID pricing. And that's the big reason I partnered with them in the first place. It's just because it could keep all of my friends on track after COVID when nobody could afford tires.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an awesome thing. Got more into like the big competition stuff. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's more competitive tires for that side of things.
Right.
For the time being, moved away from them. But
Okay.
you never know. Yeah.
Well, have you ever tried Valino tires?
Yeah, I drove on 08Cs for a long time in Texas.
Okay.
I've
I've contemplated getting those for the steers, the 08Cs.
They're a great tire.
Or was it 08? Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, the 08D is the Griva. I don't like that tire as much. It's really slippery. And at least for a while, they had a really bad chunking and delam problem, which was not great.
Yeah.
The first batch that came over to the U.S. Were awesome. They last forever.
Yeah.
But the 08C is a great tire. Super good.
I'm going to have to try that one. I just ordered 6 of the Ebisu tires. The Matsuri
Those last
tires.
forever. Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try those for the first time.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to contemplate which Velino tire to put up front for the steers?
And a Z?
Because I've just
08C.
never tried them. 08C.
If you're going to go Velino, 08C for sure.
Okay.
There's the 08R is stickier, but honestly, we don't need
It's like
that.
overkill for steers.
You don't need that unless you're running like a really, really sticky rear tire.
So what did you run the Velinos on? What car was it?
My Z.
Oh, on the Z? Okay. Hell yeah. Well, that's
I
perfect.
ran 08Cs all around that car. Because that's another thing with Lone Star Drift, Texas Street Legal. It's 300 treadwear, 265 max.
Gotcha.
So the 08C is the best tire, at least at that time.
Yeah. What's for like the Ebisu tire, what's the grip level compared to the 651s?
Less, I would say.
A little bit less.
But
they probably last way longer, I'm sure.
I would say a 651 is a little less grip than an 08C. And at least to me, they're a little grippier than a Kenda. They're like kind of right in the middle of that.
Okay. Well, I've always, Kenda, that's what I used to use all the time. And
Kenda's
they were always.
It is crazy.
Not that grippy, but like,
dude. They're crazy.
And I always kept my car extremely gripped up, ran 255s and stuff. So like, it would take a pair and last me all weekend half the time on a second gear track.
In grip, Kenda's the least, then 08C, then Kenda, then Accelera, and then 08C. And in life, it's the opposite. Kenda's the last longest, Accelera in the middle, 08C is the least lasting, but they all last a long time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm
trying to try more tires.
Trying Vitors this weekend, the 300 treadwear.
Dude, let me know how those go, because that's one tire that I really want to try.
Yeah, I haven't driven on the 300 treadwears yet, but that's who I'm like with now. I've been competing on their 200 treadwear, the FD tire on this car.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how good those tires are.
Dude, I went on a ride along with Jason Farron from Keep It Reet and the Barrow Wags, and he put those on, and I was like astonished, bro.
I was like jittery after the first time I drove on them. They're crazy.
As soon as he entered, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. With no warm-up, like no figure eights to warm up the tires or anything.
The drive those 200 treadwear Vitors have is unlike anything I've ever felt in a drift car. They're insane.
Yeah.
I haven't driven on 300 treadwears. I'm hoping they'll be like an 08C. That's my hope. But I don't know. I don't have an opinion on them yet. I haven't driven on them yet. That'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. What is your suggestion to newbie guys, like people just getting into drifting, for tire stuff? Because that's always a weird topic.
It's a tough topic. Because
I'll say mine is always like your first track day. Sure, go just put on some scrubs. You're not going to go through enough tires anyways to even deal with it. But second or beyond, like get some decent tires so you can actually start 100%. Working into what
I would say. Pick between the Velinos, the Ebisus to the 08C, and then the 300 treadwear Kendas, 651s, or if these Vitors are good, those. And whichever one you can get the cheapest is what you should buy. Because those are good tires. They're all going to last good. They're all going to have enough grip for you to improve. Like if you're a new driver, you're not going to be able to use the grip they have anyways, because you're still learning. But they're going to last a long time. They're going to have a higher ceiling than you have right now. And they aren't crazy expensive. So just find one of those, pick the cheapest one, buy that. If you have friends that drift, try and do an Accelera group buy.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest way to get tires right now. Other than that, just get the cheapest one of those. But don't go buy some random tire you saw on the shelf at Walmart. It's not worth it. They might be cheaper, but they're not worth it. Yeah. They're going to drive like shit. They're probably going to fall apart. And if they don't fall apart, they're probably not going to last very long.
Yeah. What's going to happen is you're going to finally link the track, and then you're going to start pushing yourself, and you're going to be like, fuck, I'm not going anywhere. Or, shit, my entire brand new tire just delaminated.
Yeah.
It'll piss you off
Delaminating a tire is the most annoying thing in drifting.
Yeah.
You have like 2 laps on a brand new tire, and all the tread just falls off. You're like, fuck.
I learned that one the hard way. I went to Mid Pond, which for one is... Have you ever driven Mid Pond? Okay. Well, amazing. Love Mid Pond.
See, Clutch Kickers is going there.
Are they?
That's the new home of Clutch Kickers. They announced it today.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that yet. I've been too fucking busy today.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so cool.
I saw which I need to have the dude on that still runs the Clutch Kickers account. Yeah. Austin Hattaboro. I'm sorry if that's not how you say your last name. But he's like the last final stand of Clutch Kickers. Well, until now, I guess. Yeah,
that series is coming back, and it's at Mid Pond.
Fucking sweet.
That's fucking awesome. I'm so excited. I'm definitely going to go drive this car there.
I'm going all the time, then. It's 3 hours away from me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick. I think it's like 10 from here. But worth it.
Yeah, it's probably about 10. That would be my guess.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways.
But, yeah, sorry. The way off track.
Yeah.
We can talk about clutch kickers in a minute if
tangent
you
on
want.
that
But, no, I learned that the hard way. I went to Mid-Pond. It's actually kind of a rough surface track. Like,
Really?
they need to repave it, and it'd be great. But I went, it was probably my 6th drift event, like, ever driving. And maybe a little less than that. But I brought Milestars. All Milestars, 245s.
Okay.
And I went out, and I did a lap, and another lap. And then I started hearing the stringies, and I'm like, I don't like the stringies. It hurts my head. It's loud. It just sounds bad. It gives me headaches
too, dude.
Yeah, especially if you got
wrap around a brake line or something.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Even just I run fiberglass rear quarters now, so I'm like,
those suck too.
Don't explode. So, delaminated every single one of those within 3 to 4 laps, and I was done within like an hour. Into the day.
Yeah. I would say the other thing for new drivers trying to pick a tire is don't be afraid to buy a bigger size. Like, a 350Z, a DE car can spin a 285 Accelera all day long, not a problem. The level you can air them up to is huge, and a bigger tire just has more surface area to disperse heat. So a 285 is going to last longer than a 245 or a 265 in the same compound every time.
Yeah.
So buy a bigger size.
And then you're definitely going to heat cycle them because they're not going to wear out.
Yeah, you'll get more life out of them. Just buy a bigger one. Don't be afraid. Like, don't let somebody tell you a 265 is too grippy for a Z. It isn't.
It's dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Absolutely do it. I second that statement 100%.
That's a big one.
Hell yeah. Okay, now let's jump back on the clutch kickers thing because that's very interesting. What did you think about clutch kickers? Like, what was your thought process on it?
I thought when they were at Emerald Coast, it was the coolest drift series in the country. I thought it was cooler than FD. That's what I built this car for. This car was originally supposed to be a dedicated clutch kickers car. And then the year it got done, it moved to the Freedom Factory. Yeah. And all of a sudden it was going to cost like $1,500 more to go every round. Because it's like, I think it was like 7 hours more travel each way.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So I ended up bowing out of that and doing Pro-Am instead. But when I was at the Freedom Factory, it wasn't the same. I think what made clutch kickers so cool was the track being small and being very like an equalizer for everybody. I think,
dude, if you go in the comments of the video they posted announcing that it might be coming back, that's all the comments were equalizer.
No, yeah, I was in there, dude. I said the same thing.
Yeah, literally everybody.
I think Mid-Pond will be good for that. But when it was at Emerald Coast and you saw like full blown FD cars battling like grassroots cars and it was like dooring each other, it's the coolest thing.
Yeah. That makes sense why Mid-Pond is finally expanding now.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to go in there, and I think in the video, I think he said that clutch kickers was going to help with like improving the facilities and all
that's cool.
Too. So,
oh my god,
that'd be really
shout out Castleberry, you rock!
It's awesome.
Yeah,
super excited.
I was very fortunate enough to actually be able to drive the Holt, Florida track. Not for clutch kickers,
like a fun day or something.
Yeah, it was one of the fun days. Oh my god, that was like one of the best events I've ever been to for just casual drifting.
The track just it was awesome for tandem.
It flowed so perfectly.
It's the biggest thing, like for competition drifting or grassroots drifting, like going fast is cool. But having a track that breeds really close tandem is way cooler.
Exactly.
Like, take FD, for example, right? You go watch FD Utah, and then go watch Englishtown, right?
Yeah.
Englishtown is a figure 8, not fast, nothing really that interesting, but every single lap is doors. You go to Utah, there might be one lap in the entire weekend that is within 3 car lengths of each other.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Yeah, they're going fast, but it's stupid. Like, it's not fun to watch.
As appealing to the audience.
It's fun to drive, I'm sure. I'm sure doing lead laps at 110 mile entry is awesome. But, like, from a spectator point of view, it's not good, and spectators is what makes events be able to live.
Yeah.
You have to have a good spectator viewing.
Yeah. That's why every event host that I have on, that question gets brought up.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like, that conversation. Yeah. Because I can't stand it. There's several events in my hometown. Like, I was just telling Devin the other day, or yesterday or something. Like, I'm done with local events. Like, I don't care anymore. It's not worth my time. Not worth the man hours to prep the car, and because they don't focus on that stuff. All they want to focus on is making a cool track for the drivers. And then, like, you can't even barely get a food truck there or anywhere to buy a water.
Yeah.
Like, that's not...
I don't know.
It's not a drift event.
When I go drive, my focus is tandem. That's what I like doing. That's what's fun to me.
Right.
And if the track is bad for tandem, I'm probably not going to enjoy it that much. Even if I'm going Mach 1,000.
Yeah.
Honestly, Crescent's kind of a track we're driving tomorrow is kind of like an exception to that because it's so much fun. Like, I'll do solo laps in this car and I don't even care. It's a great time. But like,
let me ask you this thing, because the internet got wild whenever I gave my opinion on this.
Okay.
Whenever you go to an event, do you prefer to do several like good single runs for a little bit and then jump into tandem later in the day, or is it like tandem one or two single laps, or like
I don't,
straight into tandem?
I don't bother with solo laps if there's anybody to drive with.
See, dude, why? Tell me why.
Because tandem's fun. And like once you get to once you get like to a level of driving where you're not gaining from solo laps.
Yeah.
Like most people in drifting, even good drivers, like if you go out there and bomb solo laps, you're gonna improve because you have to do a proper solo lap on the proper line and be in places on the track you need to be. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's not easy. Like it takes a lot of driver skill to do that. It's not hard to link a track. If you link a track and go where the car wants you to go, that's easy. But putting the car where you need it to be easy to chase, for example.
Yeah.
That's hard, right? But once you get to the point to where you can kind of look at a track and be like, I'm going to be in the ballpark of the correct line on my first lap, I'm not wasting my tires on solo laps.
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
Unless there's nobody to tandem with.
Like this section is probably going to get clipped. I'm just letting you know.
That's fine. I don't care.
But last time when I clipped myself on that topic, and boy, I said the same exact thing. I was like, it gets boring, especially if it's a track you've driven a million times. And so many people are like, oh, you say you get bored by testing yourself in solo laps and like you just drive better, do more things.
I think like my reasoning for it is a lot of it comes back to the sim, right? Yeah. I have done thousands of laps on a simulator.
Yeah.
And a simulator that's set up to drive like real life, right? And then I've also done probably several thousand laps in real life. So lead laps aren't challenging really anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can go to a track. I'm not going to go lay down a 100-point qualifying lap on my first lap, but I'll probably be at 85.
Yeah.
And if I can do an 85-point lead lap, there's no reason I shouldn't be tandeming already. Now, if you are going to a track that, say you're used to second gear go-kart tracks in your 350Z, and then you show up at a track where you're entering top of third, and you've never done that before, do a solo lap. Feel that out. Make sure you're safe. But once you're like, I got this, tandem.
Fuck yeah.
And if you show up feeling like that, tandem first lap. Who cares?
It's kind of funny because a lot of the tracks out, I don't know if it's like this around here, but the event host like won't even let you go out in tandem for a little bit.
Yeah, not here.
Dude,
no.
That's one of the most irritating things. Not even like as a driver. As a spectator, if I'm there doing media or whatever, I'm like, dude, who fucking cares? You've got all of these pro-level drivers, if not pro, they're at least pro-am level, that can tandem off the jump. Just let them fucking rip, dude.
So I think Texas drifting stands out in that aspect. Everywhere else I've gone in the country, they almost always mandate solo laps for the first like run group.
Yeah.
They always have run groups. And I don't know if I've ever been to a track outside of Texas and Oklahoma that had a hot lap layout. Like, it's uncommon. Most places, you do your lap, you come back into grid, you do your lap, come back into grid.
Oh, I got 2.
You do?
Yeah.
That's good.
Mid-Pond and then Driven Luck that just opened up, which are good buddies of mine. They're like an hour and a half away from me.
I've probably driven 10 tracks outside of Texas, and they've all been go back to grid at the end of your lap. In Texas, it doesn't matter how ridiculous the track is. It's going to be hot lap. You can do whatever. You can tandem the first lap, and you are not being babysat.
That's mid-ponds like that.
That's where Aaron Losey gets it right.
Oh, yeah.
You do
Losey's figured out the science for events.
Oh, yeah.
It's Lone Star, putting on the money, and I've never even been to one.
In terms of seat time and good driving, Lone Star is where you should go. You can do more laps at a Lone Star event than any other event in the country.
Damn.
And that is for sure.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, mid-pond it's literally
I want to go to
that,
mid-pond.
dude.
Really bad. Looks like
It's
fun.
all they care about is no more than 6 people. I think it's either 6 or 7 cars on track. Something like that.
So Lone Star used to do Lone Star Bash, right? It was like an end of the year event, and if you had points in the series, you got them free. Like it was like a party event, right?
Oh shit! Yeah.
It had to have been 30 or 40 car trains.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But that's a bigger
it was so
track,
dangerous.
though. Like mid-pond.
Honestly, it doesn't really
Go to
matter.
mid-pond and you'll understand. It'd be like, okay, more than 6, 7 cars is like.
Mid-pond's probably
Fuck.
about the same size as HPA, I would say. And HPA is probably 20 cars on track sometimes at the same time.
I don't know, man. It's
just like
a go-kart track. Like that. That's literally what
HPA
mid-pond
second
is.
gear the whole time. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lone Star just doesn't baby anybody. Like, he's like, if you spin or something, get out of the way because, like, that's your fault.
That's the way it should be, though.
Yeah, you're not
That's how
babysitting.
Drift Appalachia is.
It's not safe.
And I love that. I wish more events were like that because then
I
it
wanna
would
go there
encourage you
really
to
bad.
do better before you even put your name on the application.
It's kind of like a trial by fire thing, too. Like, if you're thrown into that environment, you're probably going to get better faster.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But, yeah, Lone Star's fun. I recommend going.
Yeah.
Good time.
Hell yeah. Is that probably the event in Texas that you would suggest?
If you want to do competition stuff, probably. Yeah. That, or if you want to the hardest tandem you can. It's gotten kind of bad these days where a lot of the drivers there have gotten so good that even doing really good tandem isn't challenging. So they've like just begun trying to door tap each other in every corner on the track. Like your car's probably going to get fucked up at Lone Star if you go nowadays. That's kind of why I stopped going, honestly, because I don't want to bring a nice car somewhere for it to get totaled for no reason, you know?
I get that.
It's super fun. Like, my Z is a beer can, so I'll drive it at Lone Star and just run into people. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the thing now. They're really good, though. A lot of really good drivers.
Is there any state that you think would probably compare to Texas as far as, or be better than Texas in the drift scene?
I think the closest state's probably Florida.
That's exactly
Florida's
what I was
got some
gonna
good
say,
drivers.
Yeah. Atlanta's pretty close.
I just
Truthfully.
don't know a lot of them. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I know a lot of the Florida guys.
That's fair.
I don't know a lot of
Yeah.
California.
T-Pain's helping a lot with the Atlanta scene.
for sure.
Like, a lot.
I would like to see Aaron Losey organize a Texas versus Florida competition.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
There's some good
Do a bunch of
drivers.
fantasy battles.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking perfect.
Be fun.
Oh. Okay. That was a long rant. That was cool. I dig it. Okay. So, back to this car real quick. Why did you actually go LS for this?
Came with the car.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah,
That's a
it
dumb
came
question.
with it was a
Do you ever
LS3.
think you would do a different motor platform?
Not for competition, I don't think.
No?
For competition stuff, I don't care what anybody else says. None of them are as reliable as an LS.
Okay.
At least here. People in Europe have figured out how to make JZs run. People
we got
in,
JZs, though.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
some
like-
of them do, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, if you go to an FD round, for example, you're going to see the most failures out of non-LS cars compared to LS cars, for sure.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then, like, there's, of course, the old argument of parts availability. You can get even race car parts at O'Reilly's. You can buy crate engines at O'Reilly's. It's stupid.
It's so wild to me.
In America, that's the way. People say they're not exciting, but if you drive one that's fast and the car like makes a lot of power, and the car makes a lot of grip, it's anything but boring to drive.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. It has the best power band for drifting because even if you fuck up and your RPMs drop a little too low, my car makes like 500 foot-pounds of torque at like 2,800 RPM. Like it'll light off wherever. So
Yeah.
for competition drifting, no, I'd probably always stay LS.
Okay.
And I'd always try and stay in ALS too.
Yeah.
Like I think instead of doing like a blower, I'd probably rather figure out how to do like a bigger engine. Like there's a company in Dallas called HPR that makes a 468 cubic inch, which is like 7.8 liters or something. And they make like 700 wheel on 93 octane.
Jesus.
So you put that thing on a race gas, you'll probably make
You
800
should just go
wheel in
Godzilla. I know it's Ford, but like it's literally an LS.
Yeah,
like,
it's just the LS
it's a pushrod V8
in particular is so highly developed. It's been around forever. And plus, if you want to do like a Godzilla engine to make 700-800 wheel NA, I'm sure it's way more expensive because the parts just aren't there. They will
Holly
be one
makes
day.
a whole accessory drive for it.
Yeah, but what about very high quality, durable, long lasting forged crankshafts?
Okay, you got me there.
In the realm of
No
like
argument.
affordability too. You probably call up some company and say, "Hey, I need a 2,000 horsepower capable crankshaft for this Godzilla," and they'll probably make you one.
Yeah,
if you have
BTR is
money.
on it right now with
I
Godzilla
think they'll
stuff.
get to that point for
Yeah.
sure. But right now, these for sure.
Yeah.
But
That's so
outside
wild.
of competition, there's other platforms I like too, for sure.
Yeah. So okay, then I noticed this in at LS Fest here in Texas. Why does your car seem so much fucking faster than everybody else?
Everybody was accusing me of making like 800 horsepower there. Like nobody believes my car makes under 6 there. I mean,
I
it
can
was
see that.
It was on a good tire, and my buddy Dawson is really, really good at setting up a chassis. So this car is fast because of the rear end setup, not because of
Mechanical grip.
Huh?
Because of mechanical grip?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a mechanical thing. It's not the engine makes at most 580 wheel, like that is real. It makes 580 wheel and probably similar torque. On the dyno, it made 520 torque, 520 horsepower.
Yeah.
Then you add 15% for the parent tuning trickery or whatever, and it's like just under 6. What it makes, it was on a good tire, and a big tire. A tire is the biggest difference, but like I was running on a Vitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 200 tread bar one, and at that power level, if you fuck up, you're done. Like there is no room for error at all. It is not easy to drive. It is not fun to drive. It is a handful, and it is the most exciting thing ever. But it's fast because it was on a crazy tire, and the rear end is set up, I think, about as good as you can set up an S chassis.
It boggled my mind when I saw it because you have like an inch of toe in.
Yeah, I think it's at like 1.25 inches right now.
Jesus.
But like that's
Christ.
not the thing that makes it fast. Like it's more in depth than that.
Well, I know, but like,
Yeah.
why does it need that much toe in? Like, that's absurd.
I
I know it
found-
doesn't. It when it squats, it comes out right on S chassis, or is it still
With
go
the
in a little bit?
WiseFab kit and like the toe arm relocation, we have it where under power, it's almost 0. Like it almost doesn't
Really?
change at all. It's like it toes out like a 16th or something.
Huh?
Yeah, it's almost 0. I also
That's a
don't
lot.
think dynamic toe is a good thing. Like that was a
Okay.
big craze for a while where cars were towing it like 1 inch under compression. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why? Like, what's
Because
your
it
reasoning
changes
for
the
it?
driving dynamics based on what your suspension travel does. Like if you're, say like you're at half throttle on track, right? Your
Okay.
car is going to therefore make less grip than if it's fully loaded and compressed.
True.
And to make the car compressed to gain that anyways, it's not going to be a full-time thing. Like say your car is 3 inches of suspension compression, right? And that's where you gain your inch of toe. You might hit that coming off handbrake in a car that's set up to squat a lot, but then the car's going to come back up. And then
True.
you're not getting that anyways.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's best to set your toe gain or toe loss or whatever to be close to 0 at the ride height your car is at in drift. Because your car is not at its static ride height in drift, and it's also not going to be at its static toe. But if you can get it close to that, that's best. Because then no matter what the suspension's doing and no matter what you're doing with your foot or whatever, the car is going to have the same setup.
Okay.
And then, I mean, you can go down the whole rabbit hole of how, like, there's some FD cars that squat 3 inches on handbrake but raise 6 on power. Like, there's so much stuff that goes into making these cars fast. They're way closer to, like, no prep drag cars than they are drift cars. Like, to make them fast. Like, it is crazy.
So, okay, then on the Z, what was your suspension setup in the rear relatively similar?
That one's pretty much stock, honestly. It has a good shock on it. And I found an arm company that was just cheap to have. Like, so they're Voodoo 13 arms.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, so the beauty of those is it's like a threaded, like 6-sided tube with like forks that thread into the ends.
Yeah.
That bolt to, your subframe and your knuckle and whatnot. And those break. The arm itself doesn't. And you can get a replacement one of the forks for like $15. So instead of having to buy a new arm, you just buy a new fork. So it's way cheaper. So I just ran those. I set that car, like for competition, it was at probably like a half inch of toe most of the time. And the shocks were just full softs, and I'd run 08Cs at like 20 pounds.
Damn.
And that's how I drove that car. This car has way more science going on in it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And that's what makes it fast. It doesn't make a lot of power, but it's set up in a way where I have to be full throttle all the time. And that's why it makes a smoke and looks like it makes a lot of power.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it blew my mind.
It's crazy.
Just seeing the toe when I walked through the pits, that's what kind of boggled my mind.
Toe...
I was like, that's why.
Toe is the last resort for grip, in my opinion.
Really?
Like, once you do everything else, once your suspension is set up as good as you can get it, once you're on a good tire and you're running out of air pressure, once you've dialed in all the mechanical you can.
Yeah.
You got your sway bar set up, you got your shock set up, you got your arm set up, everything, and you still need more, then go to toe. Because toe makes a car drive bad. Like, once you start towing a car in, it just doesn't drive nicely anymore. It's very tight.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to do anything good. So, I don't know. I don't know. The guys that help me at competitions and stuff, it almost annoys them because I never like complain about my car. Like I can show up back in pits with an inch of toe in the front, and I'm like, I didn't even notice.
Oops.
So like,
sorry.
I don't think many people grip their car up as much as I do. Like I don't think many people in the mid 500s are running the stickiest tire in FD at 10 pounds with the suspension setup as sticky as it can be. With all the toe in it. I don't think most people would even want to drive that, much less would they be I don't know how to say this the right way. Like, it's not easy, right? Yeah. I don't think most people would choose to do that. But, like, I'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, if it's faster, do it, and I'll figure out how to drive it.
I'll work around it, baby.
I'll
We're
figure
fine.
it out. Okay. Horse cars, for sure.
So what would you suggest someone that is brand new as far as rear alignment setup? Like, should they go for?
Like a new guy, like in drifting?
Yeah, just a new guy.
Set it up. Okay, I would go like zero camber, like an eighth of toe in, set your shocks in the middle, and make sure that nothing's binding under. If your car compresses a lot, take your spring out, raise your shock up, make sure all your arms are you can still wiggle them, make sure nothing's binding, right? And then set your camber zero, toe at about an eighth, go drive, and then adjust your camber based on the track you're at, adjust it based on the tire wear you're actually getting, because you're not always going to have the same camber on both sides for good tire wear. And that setup is going to net you the best tire wear you can have, and it's still going to be, you can still drive with your friends and keep up. But you don't want to do anything crazy out of the gate. You just want your tires to last a long time, because you're not going to get good without seat time.
That's fucking right. Amen to that. Good Lord. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get into the last few questions. So actually, first let me ask you this. If you were to build a different chassis that is affordable, a very common chassis, what would it be?
E36.
E36? Okay. So if I gave you an E36, bone stock, ready to go for whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah. And
you had, say, $5,000 in Juku. What parts are you going to buy to get it to the first track?
If I only have $5,000, I'm trying to build like a grassroots car.
Yeah.
I'd buy a Z again. I wouldn't buy an E36. They're too slow.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't make any power. I would buy a Z. I would go buy probably like an NRG seat because they're cheap, but they work good. I would buy probably some entry-level coilover, probably a BC, because the entry-level of the Fortunatos is kind of high now.
Yeah, just get you some BR series,
I'd
BCs,
probably go get
solid.
BCs. I'd probably go for the PBM lower control arm angle kit. Okay. I'd skip over. I don't like the GK Tech stuff too much. It's gotten better.
Honestly, with a Z, I would just tell you to skip on the angle kit from the jump. It's just not necessary.
Okay, am I gearing this towards somebody's first track day or for myself?
First track day.
First track day. Rack spacers for a Z. I wouldn't get an angle kit. I'd get rack spacers. I've seen some people.
Wouldn't even do that. I'd just take the
really
bump stops out.
Well, they're like $20.
I mean, yeah.
And they give you like 10 degrees of angle. I get a seat. I would get a handbrake. I would get rack spacers, coilovers, and I'd spend the rest on wheels and tires.
Fair enough.
Because tires,
that's a good one, yeah.
Can't get good without seat time.
Well, yeah, obviously. Usually I'll just say, like, just consider you have tires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know.
I mean, that's still
Maybe a wheel then.
good list. Yeah.
One.
Yeah, good old grip royal,
Keep
baby.
it simple. Keep it simple, and then as you get better and you actually find a limitation, then upgrade your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
the big
always
thing.
say that. Maximize your skill level, then upgrade the car.
You realize,
that's exactly what
I
say.
could use more angle,
Yeah.
and I'm limited by my stock angle.
I literally just told Devin that today. I was like, yeah, you need more angle. That's
Once you get to that point, get a new angle kit. No big deal.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, well then, what is your just best piece of advice to anyone getting into drifting?
Start on a sim.
Start on a sim.
Because, yes, you could get a cheap car like the 350Z we just spec'd out,
Yeah.
and you could get good in it. But by the amount of events and the amount of tires you're going to go through before you get good in real life, it's going to be 2x what a good sim costs, and you can get 10x the seat time on the sim. You can get infinite seat time on a sim.
Yeah.
So get a sim, get good on that, and then pick the car you like.
Yep.
And you're
save
gonna be
you
good from day
money
one.
destroying your car. You're still going to do that eventually, probably.
For sure.
But
No getting around that.
yeah. You won't do it as much.
Start on a sim. It's kind of hard, especially if you have friends that drive because you want to be out there with them. But you're going to save so much money and you're going to get so good so much faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If all your friends are
You
out there,
might be
banging
better than
doors,
your friends that started in an actual car
Probably.
by the time you get in a car.
Probably.
So,
Yeah. If your friends are out there banging doors and that's what you want to do, you're going to get there faster with a sim.
Hell yeah. 100% agree. All right. So, if you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, what would your one message be?
God. That's a big question.
Every time.
I'm starting to think of how...
Literally everyone says that.
I don't know how deep I want to get with that one. I'm going to go a little deep. I'm going to go a little bit cringy on that one.
Go for it. Do your thing.
The people in your life who support you and the people in your life you love, spend time with them, don't neglect them, and appreciate them while they're here. Biggest thing I got.
That's a big one.
I don't know. Lost some people recently. That stuff's hard, and you always wish you spent more time with them. So make a point to do that. Parents, siblings, your friends, all of them.
Yep. If you ever lost anyone to suicide, you definitely understand that one. That shit sucks.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I can tell anybody. Outside of cars, anything, that's more important.
Yeah. Damn. Well, that's good. I like that. Hell yeah. All right, well, that's pretty much all we got. Do you want to plug yourself or sponsors or anyone you want to shout out?
Instagram's at jwise.3. I post there sometimes. YouTube is Jake Wise Racing. Post there sometimes. They're kind of bad, but they're usually funny. Kind of show what I'm doing. Right now, I would like to thank Holly. Holly's been doing a lot. They've been really helping me out with my program this year, and they've been great. Nick Swan's awesome. Love those guys.
Dude, they've been helping a lot of people this year.
Dude, Nick is the best guy in the world. I love that dude to death. Yeah. But
absolutely.
All my partners do a lot. All of them. But yeah. Thanks to all of them. Thanks, my friends.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to Devin. I know you're not on camera. He's over here on the side. That's what I've been talking about. But and Immersion Motorsports, they're the reason I'm out here in Texas right now. So we get to take advantage of that, do some cool podcasts. So big shout out to them. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. I'll leave them in the description as well.
Yeah. Good guys.
So,
all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Devin and everybody else are all great.
Yeah. He even let me stay in his house. Like, just stomp all in there, destroy everything. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. Go to their events too, because the track that they host them at, awesome. It's great.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to drive it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's super fun.
Cool. All right, well, yeah, that's all we got. So look below the video. Make sure the subscribe button's pressed along with the bell notification. That's all we got for this week. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you each and every Sunday for a brand new episode. Thanks. Peace.
Stacking my up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Can't home run, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck that I leave on me. Young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it and beat it. Stacking my up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Can't home run, I'm a ball like Jeter.